Hey everybody, welcome back. Jesse here for 3Prong Gaming, and in today's episode we are going to set up our NPC move speed, so it is based off of the actual game speed. So let's go ahead and get this going. Alright everybody, in the last episode we finished setting up our NPC menu system, so when we select on our NPC, it snaps to where they're at and then follows them around in the world. So if you haven't seen that, then go ahead and check that out. So you can see up here in the top of the screen, these are pretty much the blueprints that we're going to need for this episode. Not too many, shouldn't take us too long to do this. There's a little math involved, but it's not that complicated. First, let's go ahead and jump into our NPC Blueprint. And so what we're going to need here, the NPC needs a way to know what the game speed is. Well, fortunately for us, we set up a nice little function. In our game state, in our custom game state, we set up the call update game speed. So that way the game knows, when whoever needs to know when the game speed has been updated, that it'll send that signal out to them. Now, currently it sends out time unit. We're not going to need that for our NPC, but that's not a big deal. We can just ignore it. But what we will need, and we could use the time unit if we really wanted to, but that's going to add some extra math, and it's unnecessary. So let's just go ahead and make it a little simpler for us. Right here at the event update game state speed. Remember, this is the event coming off of the HUD call, interface call from our main HUD. Whenever we click it, it sends the signal out here via interface, and then this sends out the event dispatcher. So on the multiplier, right click on it, and let's do promote to variable. And we will just call this one speed multiplier. Hit enter. We'll leave it, it's automatically sets it to type float for us. Go ahead and plug in its executions. Right, and then instead of having this come off here, we'll just pull off of here and plug that into the bottom pin. Just kind of keeps it nice and clean for us. All right, pretty easy right there. What we need to do though, make sure you compile it. We need to set its default value to 1. If we don't, the NPC is going to get some errors because this won't update until we actually click a button in the HUD to change the game speed. This won't actually be called to set the speed multiplier. So set its default value to 1. All right, compile it and save it. That should be all we need from the game state. Go ahead and jump back into the NPC blueprint right here. All right, so now at the end of the line of the begin play, we're in the begin play. At the end of the line here, go ahead and drag off of what we need. We need a reference to game state. Right now we actually don't have it. We can create our own reference by right clicking and typing game state, get game state, and then we cast it to our custom game state. But like what we've done in the past to help kind of prevent some of our casting, what we need to do here in the NPC, go ahead and let's create a new variable. We'll call this one game state ref. Select its type to my game state right there. Reference. Make it editable. Expose it on spawn. Compile it and save it. Now, when we spawn the NPC, it's over here in the camera pawn controller. So go ahead and select that. And up here, now that we expose it on spawn, you'll see here we got this pin, game state reference. So let's find our game state reference in here, and we'll just pass that value along. Just like so. Easy as pie. All right, compile it, save it. So now every time our NPC is spawned right here, then it will automatically set that variable for us. So go ahead, and I'm going to set its category to references, so it's in there. All right, so now pull your game state reference out. Let's get it. Zoom in here so you can see what's going on. Pull off of this, and we will just type bind. It's under the default bind event to update game speed. Select that. Perfect. Go ahead and drop that in there. So now we need an event. Let's just go ahead and pull off of this event dispatcher, create event. Now we haven't created an event for this yet, so we have nothing to select. So let's just go ahead and right click. We'll do custom event, and let's go ahead and call this one update walk speed. Hit enter. Now we've got to match the bind event. Remember I said it had a time unit, which was a float. So we need to add an input. We'll just call this one time unit. Even though we're not going to use it, it's still got to be there. Otherwise the bind event won't find it. Type float. Go ahead and compile it. And we'll get the error, but now we've got update walk speed in here right there. Perfect. Now we can compile it. We won't get that error. Close out that message board right there. Like I said, we don't need time unit, so we don't need to do anything with that. Go ahead and grab our game state reference again, right here. Drag it in, get it, and we need to pull off of this one, that variable we just set. Let's type speed multiplier, get speed multiplier. Okay, so now we need to be able to know what our base walk speed is. So let's create a new variable. We'll call this one base walk speed, and we'll make it a type float. Hit enter there, compile it, and save it. Okay, now what the default value of this needs to be. Let's talk about game speed right now. All right, if you click the character movement here, we get a ton of options here. All we're going to worry about right now is the character movement under walking. Right, we got max walk speed 600. Well, that's awfully really fast. What this value is, that's 600 centimeters a second. That's flying. Now, of course, that's his max walk speed, but we're going to use that to get his pretty much his actual walk speed. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what a real walk speed is. So if you look it up, the average person walks, since we're using the metric system here, the average person walks 5 kilometers an hour. Okay, well, 5 kilometers, that's 500,000 centimeters. Maybe I'll throw some numbers up here on the screen for you to look. If not, well, just follow along. It's not too hard, but that's 500,000 centimeters an hour. So if you take 500,000 centimeters an hour and divide it by 3,600 seconds, because there's 3,600 seconds in an hour, that'll tell you how much you actually walk. The average person in real life walks per second. So if you divide that, it actually comes out to 138.888889 or something like that. So round it up to about 139. I'm actually going to round it up to about 140. Okay, so let's assume that the average person walks 140 centimeters per second. If we were running a full-scale world, and you might be, it's up to you, however you're doing it, then you would type 140 as your max walk speed, and then we would set that as our base walk speed default. Okay, but my world is scaled 50%, so multiply 140 by 50%, or simply just cut it in half. So my max walk speed, my base walk speed, is going to be 70, right? Perfect. So, and if you're doing 25% scale like I originally was when I started this project, then you would take that 140 and times it by 25%, or divide it by 4. That would give you, well, half of the 70, so it'd be 35. That's what you would set for that. So just keep that in mind. You know, usually in most tutorials, even for regular games where you're not following time, most people even set that to like 400. That's still pretty fast that the character's moving across the game. But either way, whatever feels right for whatever game you're building is what you need to go ahead and go with. But we're trying to keep things relatively accurate. I mean, it's not going to be dead nuts accurate, but close enough. 70 is the max walk speed, and we're going to change that. But change the base walk speed. Click on that. Its default value will be 70. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag this in now. We need to get it. Now we need to take this and we need to divide it float by float by our speed multiplier. All right, so yeah, and that will give us our new max walk speed. Okay, so now pull off of, actually just right click and do max. Actually, no, that won't work. Grab your character movement, click and drag it into the screen right here, into your graph. Now pull off of this. Now we need to set max walk speed right there. All right, plug in the execution and then take the output of our little math right there, plug it into the new max walk speed. So now every time the game updates its speed by clicking the plus or minus button in the main HUD, it will update its max walk speed and change its walk speed. There's one other thing I want to do. Select character movement again. Now you'll see up here under character movement in the general settings, max acceleration. That's 2048. It's the max acceleration or the rate of change of velocity. If this number's too low when we start clicking the game speed, it may take a second or so for the speed of your character to catch up, right? It's a ramp up speed. So you change the speed, even though the time will go up instantaneously, start moving fast, he may not reach his full potential right away. That's not what we want. When we click the game speed, we want his change to happen instantaneous. So really the best way, I don't know if -1 would work here or not. I don't think there's an infinite setting on here, but what I do is I just set 20,000. And that should be all right for now. He should be able to ramp right up, and we really shouldn't even notice a ramping change. All right, so that is it for that. Comment that. Yeah, I'll update that in a minute. Just get that out of the way. Okay, so we're still not quite done with this yet. What we need to do now is we need to adjust. Let's compile it and save it. We need to adjust his Annum Blueprint. Right, so where that's at, I know I've got it up here, but it's in the animations folder right here. If you're following along, then everything should pretty much look the same. It's in your animations folder here. All I do is click the top-down Annum BP, and it opens up and it brings me to the graph. We don't need to worry about the graph, just select the animation. You could also do it by selecting the skeleton. You can go to character, mesh, and the SK mannequin. Actually, probably the skeleton right there, and it'll open up the same thing, but it won't have the graph right there. Not a big deal. Pretty much the same thing. Select animation, and right here you'll see top-down idle run 2D. So go ahead and select that. 2D just means it's a two-dimensional graph right here. Okay. So default here, I believe the max range is 350, and it's got 4 axes. If you follow along in here, you can see. This is based off if he reaches a max speed of 350, that's how fast he's going to go. Right now we have his max speed set at 70. So this would actually be his, right about here, this would be his max speed that he's going to go. Right now, obviously, we're going to multiply that when we change the game speed so he can go a little bit faster. And really, we could probably leave this mostly the same. It looks all right. Let's go ahead and change a couple things on here, though, at least one thing. Right here in the x-axis divisions, let's go ahead and make it 5. And in order for that to take effect, we have to hit Apply Parameter Changes, right? And you're going to see it's going to knock this pin out of location. Just drag that and drop that down right there. Okay, and now we got 70. And the reason why I chose 5 is because if you could take 350 and we got our base speed at 70, right? So we want one of these pins right here. We want this first pin to be 70. So 70 times 5 is 350. So that's where our max walk speed comes in. Now, for the most part, this actually looks okay. I think if we go in, save it real quick, and let's see, go to a place we can actually play it. Hit play. If we drop an NPC in here, right, now we just add a building for them to go to, you'll see them walking. Now, what we want to pay attention to is how it looks like they're walking across the world. Are their feet sliding across the map? Are they moving too fast? We slow them down. See, now they slow down as well. They slow down even more, and then actually they stop. And this is where we talked about in the past in our behavior tree. Right now, it sees it as blocked, so we set that to keep trying to move. So when we move forward, all right. So there's that. Let's go ahead and drop another one in here and just see him move a little bit faster. 3, 4. We still got 5 set up to max, like massive walk speed. So you can kind of see a ramp up right there. So let me show you that real quick. See if I could drop them way over there. They're going to start walking. Hopefully. Hit 5. I don't know why they didn't start walking. Maybe they're out of the nav mesh. They shouldn't be. Hit V. Come on. Oh, because they've got no place to go. The construction already ended. So, yeah, now see if we can catch their ramp up speed right here. Yeah. See, it kind of took them a second to really reach speed. I don't know if you can notice that or not, but it's there. But we're going to change that right now. It's actually getting to the point to where we don't really need this super fast speed. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's go ahead and go into your main UI HUD that we created. Go into the graph. And under the function we set game speed right here, set game speed. When we click on the buttons, we come in here and our number 5 is set to 0067. That gives us our supersonic speed. Let's knock it down to more game-like settings. So 0.25, hit enter. So now we're not going to have that supersonic speed, but we shouldn't really need it. If you need construction to hurry up on a building, if you're testing something and you need the construction to happen really fast, then just set the construction time low. We've set other variables for that, so you can set its construction to be done in 15 minutes or something, and it'll go just fine. But now we don't have that fast speed. So let's drop somebody in here, add in another construction building. So now we got 4, 5. So there's the max walk speed, and it looks like they're running. I don't really like that, but you got to remember these animations are really, they're all temporary. You're going to make your own when it comes time to finish the game. You're going to have your own. So, see how he's walking really slow? His base speed is not set, right, until we click this. So let's go ahead and check that out real fast, because we were on game speed 5 and he did not instantly be game speed 5. So what we need to do is when he spawned, we need to come in here. And now we need to pull off of this and just do update walk speed. Just like so. Put that at the end of the event begin play in the Mpc Blueprint. Compile and save it. So now what this will do is it will automatically poll this to see what the speed multiplier is. And it'll set his speed accordingly as soon as game starts. Okay. So go ahead and compile and save that. Let's go ahead and test that out again. Go ahead and drop in a construction office, and then we take drop one in here. Let's go ahead and set this just straight up to 5. Drop him in there. He should automatically be running to it. There he goes. If we go like this, drop it down to 1, drop in another guy, he should be moving. The new guy should be moving at that same speed. Perfect. We drop it to 0, drop in another guy, and his speed's going to be the exact same thing. You know he's interested in that building because he turned towards it. All right, then update game speed. Perfect. So like I said, what you want to look for when you're making the settings in the blend space is that it kind of looks all right for them. That's something that's mostly down the road, but we're stuck with this animation set for quite a while until we decide to make our own. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it looks. What you can do if you want to change that some, I'll just go over real quick. Go back into your top-down animation PP. So the fastest speed he's going to get is 1.5 times his speed. So that's what, 70 plus 35. So 105 is about as fast as he's going to get. Or no, maybe not. Let's see. I don't know. This is about where he gets right up in here. 200 and something because he runs. So, but what you can do is you can just go ahead and you can lower this number or raise this number to like, I don't know, 420, right? And then 70 is going to be changed a little bit. We change this to 6 because 70 times 6 is 420. Hit enter. We can apply the changes here. Move this around, jump that up. And this is still at 70 right around in here. Yep, still set at 70. So now his max walk speed, he'll walk faster. But let's go ahead and see what that looks like in game. Go ahead and compile and save that. Then jump in here. And then let's just see what they look like. Set that building way over there. And how their feet look. See, it still looks all right. There's 4, There's 5. He's still kind of jogging. Yeah, so you could just raise those numbers up. Like if you don't want him to jog at max speed 5, because really he shouldn't be jogging. It should be just a constant pace to where he's moving across the world, because when we move the game speed up, he's technically not moving faster. The game's just moving faster. But it's all semantic right at this point. Like I said, you probably won't have, when you create your own custom animations, you won't have a run. There's no need to have a running character in there. You're just going to have a base walk speed. You'll have their legs move a little bit faster, just to kind of, pick it up and yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's way down the road. This looks pretty decent for right now. I think I'm just going to leave mine at default. I'm going to change this back to 5 and then put this back at 350 and apply it. And then everything should be right about where it's supposed to be, 70. Yep. So that's about it default. Save it. Control S, make sure everything is saved. And that is perfect. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go down and hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe while you're down there liking it. And check out one of the other videos I'm playing on screen. I'm thinking for the next episode, I don't know where we're going in the next episode. I've really got to kind of evaluate that. But I think we might be dipping back into the AI. I think that's where we got to go to next. So probably some living quarters. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Until next time, peace.